Welcome to Forbidden Planet TV. I'm Andrew Sumner. I've got a real treat today. One of our all-time favourite cover artists is right here with me right now. Stanley
Hey,
Artgerm Lau. How you doing, mate?
I'm doing well. Wow, what an honor to be here.
Oh well, mate. Well, the honour is all ours, I assure you. And there's so many great things. Before we talk a little bit about your career,
Mhm,
there's something that you announced recently on your Twitter feed. We've
mhm,
just done a dedicated range of art gem merchandise
mhm,
at Forbidden Planet, which everybody
mhm.
watching this can order from the links attached to our video. But while we're talking about it, it's based on some of your brilliant Batman universe work. So we've got some coasters right here. There you go.
Yay,
Hey,
nice.
there we go. Very, very nice. We've got some travel pass wallets, very useful in the
Mm.
UK for the tube and whatnot. So you stick them in there, put your tube pass in there like
Oh,
that.
nice. Very cool.
Yeah, and some lovely mugs. There we go.
Oh, I love to
Yeah,
have this.
yeah, right, right. Well,
Mm.
obviously, mate, we'll be sending these to you, so fear not. There you go.
Awesome.
Look, right, what?
Yay.
And there are some beautiful giclée prints. Let's see, we've got some sweet Batgirl action here.
Oh, this is really popular.
Yeah, right. Yeah, such beautiful work, mate. Such beautiful work.
Mhm.
And also we've got Harley Quinn.
Of course.
Now, Artgerm, you're in massive demand for variant covers on both sides of the big two comic book companies' estate. You do a lot of stuff for DC, you do a lot of stuff for
Mhm.
Marvel, you
Yep,
do a lot of stuff for us at Titan Comics as well,
that's right.
which we'll talk about in a sec. But what has been your journey to becoming who you are? What's been your
Uh-huh.
career path to get to the point you're at now, mate?
Yeah, okay. Interesting. I was not trained in art. Art is something that I learned by myself, so I'm pretty much a self-taught artist. Um,
Unbelievable, absolutely amazing.
Yeah, well, back then there wasn't any of such entertainment art courses available in my country. So the closest I got was a graphic design course. That was my only official creative training, so to speak. And then I picked up a lot of skill for graphic design, typography, and the more commercial design stuff. And then and just learn art on my own. So upon graduations, I was asked to work in an advertising company for a year, and then I quit myself. And eventually, a few friends of mine decided to come together to set up a design studio. So I was one of the founders for the design studio, and then I ran that for about 4 to 5 years. And then I found that a little bit boring because I got to do a lot of like branding, advertisement, campaign stuff, but wasn't actually a lot of chance for me to actually draw something. So eventually I thought maybe it's time for me to move on. And then I decided to quit myself and then get a few more friends to set up Imagery Friends Studios. And then I've been running that until today.
Wow, it's just amazing. And how long have you been? How long is your studio, your personal studio, been running for now, mate?
It's been running for more than 10 years already.
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah.
Mhm,
But I mean, my sense as a massive comics book fan, which I am,
mhm,
as are many of the people who watch this channel, is
mhm,
that there's been a real explosion in the awareness of your artwork in about the
mhm,
last 5 or 6 years, I think.
mhm.
Would you agree with that, mate?
Yeah, I think so too. I started off with actually my first ever cover was done with this company called Devil Steel.
Yeah. Wow.
Um, was some GI Joe covers,
Yeah.
and then because of that, then people start to like what I'm doing, and then I have a good friend of mine whose name is called Dave Elliott. He actually introduced me to Mark Chiarello from DC Comics,
Yeah.
and and then he brought me in to work on some comic covers for DC. When I first started off, I was working on those like second tier, third tier kind of covers. Those I don't really sell well, but I had a lot of fun working on that. I think I was cruising around quite nicely until I encountered um, Batgirl. So
Yeah.
was my, so to speak, the big break into the comic world. The people start to realize, oh, who Artgerm is, and they start collecting my covers. So that was a pretty significant milestone for me.
Yeah, no, I believe that, and I think Batgirl, of course, is one of the great characters that you're so completely identified with, and of
Hmm.
course, those guys you name check, Dave Elliott is an old friend of ours at Forbidden
Oh,
Planet.
nice.
Yeah,
Okay.
right on.
Mm.
And Mark Chiarello, of course, is
Hmm.
perhaps the great comic book art director. Can't think of anybody who's more preeminent than him in that space. And
I agree.
the
I agree.
impact he had on DC was over 2 decades, just amazing.
That's right.
Yeah.
So I
So
really, and one more person I would like to thank, which is the one who, the handler of mine was called, I remember is Eddie Choi.
Eddie Choi,
Eddie.
yeah.
Yes. Well, man, he was the one who really, I need to be really grateful for.
Oh, brilliant!
Hmm.
Excellent. Yeah. I mean,
Hmm.
it's so good that you're shouting these guys out as well.
Hmm. Hmm.
What and I take it you still have a relationship with all of these great creators to this day, right?
Yes, they moved on from DC, and actually a few of them, which I really miss working with them. I don't like to work with many editors, so usually I would like to have one contact from DC, one contact from Marvel, and anybody who want to work with me for the covers have to go through them. So I think it just makes it easier for me to manage my time.
Of course,
Mm.
because when you're in as much demand as you are, you don't need a thousand people coming at you. You need just a single line of communication, don't you? Because
That's
you want
right.
to keep the purity of your art. I totally get that.
Hmm.
Let's have a little romp through some of your DC and Marvel work.
Hmm.
There's a lot of great stuff to choose from, but something that I mentioned off camera, something that I'm particularly enjoying at the moment is a great friend of ours here at Forbidden Planet TV is the comics writer Chip Zdarsky, and
Hey.
when we're big fans of his run on Batman, and you're in
Hmm.
the middle at the moment of doing this incredible kind of 6 issue variant run of Batman covers. Could you talk a bit about that, please, Artgerm?
Yeah, it came in a little bit of surprise because I think before me, Jock was working
Oh,
on
that's it,
a
man. Yeah,
series of foil
he was.
covers, like black and white foil covers. And then I think he was ending his run, and then
Yeah,
the editor from DC just approached me and said, "Do you like to take over?" And I was like, "Sure, it would be fun to draw something black and white rather than full colors and fully rendered, so that I can choose to approach in a slightly different style for the sake of the foil covers." And I promised to run six issues with them.
yeah. And look,
Yeah.
I've seen 4 of them so far. I
Hmm.
think only, if I remember correctly, I think as we're talking, I think
Yes.
I think it's only 1 or 2 that have been published so far. So
Yeah.
so Batman was your first, right? And then
Hmm.
it was Catwoman.
Catwoman.
Then it's the Joker, which is
That's
solicited
right.
and
Hmm.
can be ordered from the links attached to our conversation. And
Hmm.
uh, and then it's Punchline, who's just been solicited and can
Yep.
be ordered from the links attached to our conversation.
Yeah.
And who,
And then I teased the fifth cover, which
yeah.
is Batman and Catwoman as a
Oh,
couple.
wonderful. And I guess
Yeah.
you can't tell me what the 6th cover is going to be.
Well, the last one start with the letter R. You can figure
Oh, right.
R.
Oh, I think I'm getting what you're saying, mate.
Hmm.
So, and of course, there's that lush and beautiful black and white artwork for those covers, which were flashing up as we're talking. But
Hmm.
but also you had some interesting print techniques on some of the editions as well, right?
Yes. So they were thinking about making them. I mean, because Joke's covers were in foil, and this time around they want to continue the series, so they would print them in foil, but they also want to print a black and white as a
Yeah.
standard cover. Mm.
Yeah, I mean I've seen the treatments on both, and the great thing about your artwork, I think, is it's so lush in the first place. It's so versatile that you
Mhm.
can present it with foil with different treatments, and
Mhm.
it's just a different window into the beauty of what you create. I mean,
Mhm.
it's I think the great thing about your work and why it resonates with so many fans is that it's that classic thing of it's so beautiful and hypnotic that you can look at it, spend 10 minutes luxuriating the image, come back to it a day later, and you'll find something else in there.
Thank you. Thank you. I think the one interesting thing about my approach to comic covers is that I do not carry the baggage of as a
Yeah,
comic fan. So I don't know a lot about history of the comic or the character that I draw. So I usually approach it from a very fresh eyes and try to bring something new to the table, especially if someone coming from Asia. I would like to introduce a little bit of the Asian aesthetics.
Yeah.
into the covers that actually resonate pretty well with people from the East and from the West.
Yeah. No, I think you've been completely successful in that endeavor.
Thank you. Mm.
And there are also there's an upcoming Marvel solicit which we're carrying with this
Mhm.
interview, which is your alternate cover, your variant cover for
Mhm.
Hallows Eve issue 1. Can you
That's
tell me a
right.
bit
Yeah.
about that?
Well, that's I mean, every now and then I would like to challenge myself to work on some characters I've never heard about and something new. So, and I think DC and Marvel recognize that they know that when they want to launch a new character, they would like me to work on the variant cover to boost the sales. Um, Something like Punchline, when they first released Punchline, I was the one working on the variant cover. So they knew that. So they want to go in with a bang, and usually they would just approach me for that. So the Hallow's Eve is the same thing. I thought this is a very interesting cover and character design, so I don't mind just giving it a try. I mean, at the end of the day, I would like to make collecting my covers a fun experience, so you don't always get the same thing from me.
Yes, yeah, I get that. I get that. I
Mhm.
think do you have any particular favorite Marvel characters and Marvel covers you've done? And before you answer, I'll tell you what one of my favorites is.
Okay.
I saw you recently sharing one of your versions of Emma Frost, and I think
Oh yeah.
your iteration of Emma Frost is just fantastic.
Oh, thank you. That's an interesting story, actually. So Marvel approached me to work on the Emma Frost, and being myself, I usually ask like, which costume do you like me to work on? And the editor told me that the marketing director of Marvel would like me to work on this particular costume, and with her sitting on a crystal throne. I say, okay, I will just do it. And that's how I got to draw that. And I mean, usually Marvel and these don't really give me a specific direction to work on. They
Yeah.
will just say, oh, just do the Artgerm stuff, just do the Artgerm style, and that will be okay. But for that particular one, I want to just make the marketing director happy. I said, okay, why don't you make use of me to have some fun? And
Yeah.
that's how I ended up with the Emma Frost sitting on the throne.
Yeah, it mate, it's such a powerful image. Is there anybody in the Marvel universe that you've not yet illustrated that you would like to?
Oh, uh, I would say that one of the most challenging one that I would eventually want to work on is a Silver Surfer.
Ah, yeah, great choice, great choice. Because particularly with your style, I guess the decisions are all about how do you represent the reflective nature of his skin and all that kind
Yeah,
of stuff.
I guess it's pretty challenging. Usually, I don't like to work on characters that doesn't show the face. For example, characters like Iron Man. Usually, I don't work on them because it's very hard to put my style on it. But I think Silver Surfer would be something extremely challenging and something I just want to do once and forget about it, just like
Yes.
once.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Get it, a system. I get that. And how
Mhm.
about the DC universe? Are there any big things that you want to get to in the DC universe?
I think I draw pretty much a lot. I mean, I drew a lot of DC characters, but I
Yeah.
would like to eventually one day I can design something for Supergirl. I would like to design a version of Supergirl that I can really call my own.
Ah, now that would be great for you. Just be so
Yeah.
great for you. Yeah, there was a great era with Supergirl in the 1970s where
Mhm.
instead of having one costume, she had a whole wardrobe of costumes, like 20
That's right.
costumes, and they used to
Mhm.
alternate them issue to issue. You know,
Mm.
and I think she's an endlessly stylistically flexible character that way. There isn't
Mhm.
one particular look that's associated with her, so therefore it
Mhm.
gives you a lot of freedom to put your own imprint on it.
Yeah,
You,
I have personal love for Supergirl, so I really would like to contribute more to her. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's such an interesting choice, and it's again something that we went crazy about when we saw it the other day, when you posted on your Twitter was Tatsumaki, the tornado of terror.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. So how did that come about, mate?
Well, usually I mean, in the past when I was not so busy, many times I would try to set aside some time to draw some fan art for characters I love. And I'm really much into One Punch Man. I love the character design of pretty much everyone in the comic or in the manga. Um, and recently I was in talk with one of my students about this idea of lolly, you know,
Yeah,
the lolly girls.
yeah,
And somehow it just sparked my interest to draw a more lolly looking character, which is the Tatsumaki. Yeah. And also because I'm heading to Paris for a show, and I would like to create some new prints for the event.
Oh, wonderful. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. So,
Mhm.
out there in the is there anybody else out there in the anime space that's on your to do list that you think, yeah, I'd really like to give
Oh,
that a
there's
go?
so many. Usually I love to go back to those old stuff that I like. Like, my favorite manga or anime was Feast of North Star.
Yeah, got that. I get you.
Yeah.
That's classic. Yeah,
Yeah, those old stuff like recently the Slam Dunk and City Hunter and those really old stuff. I really enjoy those old characters with my new interpretation of them.
yeah. Now I can totally see that, and in fact, on that note,
Mm-hmm.
you did a great variant for us at Titan Comics
Mm-hmm.
on Cowboy Bebop. Yeah,
Yes, that's right.
yeah.
Mhm.
That was so well received, mate. Did you enjoy working on that?
Yeah, I was like when Vivian first told me about Cowboy Bebop, I was like, wow, totally, I'm totally doing it. And eventually that'll be quite fun, although it's not exactly the anime version, more like the Netflix version.
Yeah.
But being able to work on Cowboy Bebop on the cover is still something very amazing for me. Yeah.
And in fact, you've just named a very interesting person. My boss, Titan and Forbidden Planet's dark and sinister CEO, Vivian Chung, who is a fellow Singaporean mate, right?
Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah, it's a small world after all, isn't it? Unbelievable.
It is. I was so surprised to find out that actually the boss of Titan and Forbidden Planet is from Singapore. Like,
Yeah,
wow, okay.
yeah. No, we really appreciate the work that you've done for us. I mean, you also did a Blade Runner variant, which was wonderful, absolutely lovely.
Mhm.
Did you like working within the Blade Runner universe?
I'm not very much into Blade Runner. I
Yeah,
did watch the movie when I was young, but it's not something that I have a lot of. It doesn't resonate with me as much. But what I like about working with Titan is that I get the chance to work on something very different, something that I
yeah.
didn't even expect to work on. So from Horizon Zero Dawn to Blade Runner to Cowboy Bebop to Gun Honey and those interesting stuff that I just make my, how should I say that again? It just make the people collecting my covers a lot more interesting.
Yeah, I
Mm.
mean, you've just name checked. I mean, I think that's exactly right. And you've just name checked. Perhaps my favourite piece of your Titan Comics work is your variant cover for Gun Honey Blood for Blood. And
Okay.
when that came into the office, we just all
Hmm.
flipped out, mate.
Hmm.
It's such a because we've got it. We'll have it beamed up here while we're talking, but it's such an unusual piece of work as well. You know, I love
Okay.
the dripping gold effect. Is just fantastic. You know,
Yeah,
what was your
because
inspiration for that?
yeah, when they first told me about Gun Honey, I was like, how to make it interesting. Then I looked through some of the past covers from the previous series done by other artists. I was thinking, okay, she's holding a gun. There's honey in it. Why don't I just put them together and make her dripping with honey?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It,
It's a simple idea, but somehow it works.
mate, it was simple and absolutely inspired.
Hmm.
So thank you for that. You know,
No
it's
problem.
we absolutely loved it. Fans absolutely loved it as well. Fans loved the variant covers on Gun Honey, but you know,
Mm.
as you know, you're right up there in terms of the people who have just the wildest response to the variant covers, and
Oh, I appreciate that. Mm.
it must be it must be such a pleasure to be able to
Hmm.
do what you do and have your fan following, but kind of sit outside of the constraints of creating a regular comic book at the same time.
Hmm.
So you can go where your interest leads you and do the commissions you want to do, and that must be a wonderful place to be in, mate.
Yes, it is. And I don't have a passion to actually run the entire series for myself. That means I would not want to work on the interiors because I know that I'm not the kind of person, the kind of artist who like to tell a story for a very long time. So me being a variant cover, I also would not constrain by the cover telling the interior stories of that particular issue. So my job as a variant cover artist is to boost sales, right?
Yeah,
So I think I really like that because it gives me a lot of freedom to draw what I want. And I always tell people that my goal as a variant artist is to make sure that people buy A cover and B cover, both
yeah,
together.
yeah.
So that's how it works.
Absolutely well said, mate. Absolutely right. Artgerm, what's on the horizon for you next? You're mentioning you've got a show coming up.
Yes, I am going to Paris this coming early April for this manga event. This is the first time going to Paris. Really excited about it. Usually I don't travel much outside of the US, but I think this year I make a promise to my wife that I would like to bring her around
Yeah,
to different part of the world. So Paris is the first stop, and then after that I'll be going to Lake Como. It looks really, really beautiful. So I'm looking
yeah.
forward to that too.
It's incredibly beautiful,
Mm.
and mate, thank you so much for your wonderful work,
Oh,
which
you're
we
welcome.
as fans all love across the board. I mean, here's
Thank
the
you.
reality, mate. Every Artgerm cover is a massive event, and it's a source for joy and celebration. And like I said, I've been collecting and reading comic books for a very long time. Since
Mhm.
1966, and every now and again, a cover artist comes along, like generally once in a generation, who sets people alight and makes people look at the form differently. It's like what Alex Ross did back in the day, and
Mm.
you're definitely that guy of the moment. And
Oh, thank you.
I can't tell
Mm.
you how proud we are to be producing this merchandise range with your beautiful work, and how proud we are to be working with the Untitled Comics. And it's just a joy to luxuriate in your work, mate. So thank you for all of it.
You're welcome. I think to me, I know that many people say that comic is a dying industry. So if I can do something to bring new blood or new readers to the comic world, I think that's something that I would love to do. So because of my training in or my past history in uh, game design or game illustrations, I think my aesthetic somewhat appeal to the modern audience and even to people who don't really read comics. Hopefully they'll buy my comic covers and eventually open the comic and start reading it.
Yeah, I think
Mm.
that's right. I mean, I think you're one of those artists who's like a magnet to the form, is what you're saying, and I think I just couldn't agree more. I couldn't agree more. Every time I see a new piece by you, it's a real treat. I can't wait
Thank
to
you.
see can't wait to see those Batman covers that haven't been revealed yet.
Hmm.
The Batman and Catwoman, and the one that begins with R. I'll be first on the queue checking out for those solicits, and
Yay.
uh, and everything that we've been talking about with Artgerm, you can order from Forbidden Planet from the links
Mm.
attached to our conversation, and at Titan Comics we're looking more forward to working with you more in the future as well, mate. We
Oh, definitely.
we really appreciate the work you do for us, mate. And thanks again for taking the time out of your day to spend some time chatting with me.
No problem at all. Mm.
Yeah, well, you take care of yourself, Artgerm. Enjoy
You
the
take
rest of
care
your
too.
day and have a great day. Take care, man.
See ya. Bye bye.
If you're enjoying watching Forbidden Planet TV and you're enjoying watching us talk to the world's most interesting and accomplished filmmakers, authors, artists, musicians, creators, subscribe right here. See you soon.